Starfire Protocol, when they first said that they were buffing Starfire Protocol, I put it on the level of Geomag stabilizers. I kind of equated Starfire Protocol being on a very similar level to Geomags based on how they were buffing it. The biggest factor, Radiant now counts as empowered weapon damage and final blows for the purposes of Starfire Protocol, which is massive. Also, hits are now 5% grenade back, and there's like an internal cooldown that we'll talk about, and kills are 15%. That did get nerfed because the damage portion got buffed up, right? So they're just compensating, so kills are only 15% of your energy, whereas weapon damage is 5%. We have access to very easy Radiant right here. Fever and Chill, rapid precision hits with solar weapons grant Radiant. So this can easily be our source of Radiant. Obviously, if you want to go in here and you want to use your snap melee with the frickin' Ember of Torches, right, Radiant, you can do it like that as well. But I have found, in my experience, getting this to trigger with certain weapons specifically is very, very easy Radiant. What's something that I've struggled with? Fixed odds. Machine gun, right? This thing takes forever to proc Radiant. 3 Zally's Bane shots, I can get Radiant. This feels like I need 20 shots to proc Radiant. So it is more of a primary proc effect. I've been using Red Death. I was using Zally's Bane. If you want to break out Sunshot, like Sunshot's got to be crazy easy, right? It's probably also 3 shots. Yeah, Tommy's matchbook probably gets it super fast too, and Tommy's matchbook got like a bunch of adjustments too, right? So this is not hard to do with a primary. Now, let's say you're watching this sometime in the far future and that's not an option anymore. Yes, you might want to lean towards something like Ember of Torches to get you Radiant, or Empowering Rift, which, you know, right now it says increases weapon damage, but in a patch coming very, very soon, Empowering Rift is going to do what? It's going to do like 4 things, right? Where did they post that? Was that a TWAB? Standing in Empowering Rift now generates grenade, melee, and class ability energy over time. Final blows while standing in Empowering Rift now generate bonus special and heavy ammo progress. That is a big deal. So it would not surprise me, and you know, we're probably going to do a little more testing with Empowering Rift after the patch to see how well it does and how much energy we're really getting, but it wouldn't surprise me at some point in the future you were using Empowering Rift because it ends up being that good, and you're using some sort of weapon like a Red Death Reformed if you happen to have it. I have been trying out Red Death Reformed for a little while because what am I thinking of when we're talking Starfire Protocol? I want the empowered weapon damage. I want this to be active as much as humanly possible, which means I want Radiant as much as possible, or I want to be empowered as much as possible, right? Radiant does not necessarily supply healing and like restoration to you. So for me, I wanted as much Radiant as possible, and I wanted it to be as high uptime as possible. But when I spec'd into it, I found myself not having as much restoration as I wanted to. So, for example, I've spec'd into Ember of Mercy. By the way, let's talk about aspects first real quick. Obviously, you're using Fusion Grenade and, you know, all this other stuff. I've been on Song of Flame. I just like Song of Flame if you want to be on Well, if you want to be on Daybreak. I don't think your super necessarily matters that much. I imagine most people are going to go for Well just because it's very easy. And then, you know, the Healing Rift versus the Empowering Rift, we'll see how good it ends up being, right? Aspects. Touch of Flame, that's a given. You gotta be on Touch of Flame. Hellion versus something like Heat Rises, I think is more of a personal choice. I like Hellion. I think Hellion is good. It incentivizes me to use my class ability, which I am usually not very good at doing. Like, I don't have the muscle memory on it as well as I do on Titan compared to Warlock and Hunter. And Hellion is just good. I know it's like very passive, but it's doing a lot of Scorch stuff. It's adding to those ignitions. I just like it because I don't have to think about it as much. Heat Rises, if you like, you know, doing some stuff in the air, stuff like that, you know, final blows while airborne, giving you melee energy. I think of it more of like a Sun Bracers type setup personally, but like if you even wanted to go Icarus Dash, you really like Icarus Dash, right? You could go for that as well. Hellion, I do think, is probably the more like average player friendly thing to do. It's encouraging you to drop your Rift. I've tried a lot of different fragment setups, and unfortunately, I'm kind of back to like ye old Torches, Empyrean, Solace, right? Radiant and Restoration have implied or increased duration. Solar Weapon or Ability Final Blows extend the duration. The Powered Melee gives you Radiant. Do I think I need this as much with, the thing in the artifact? Probably not, so you could probably skip this, but it is nice to have it at an instant. And then I went with picking up a Fire Sprite grants Restoration, because a lot of this other stuff did not have Restoration. I had Healing Rift, but if I'm going to move to Empowering Rift, then I want some other form of healing. So I did end up liking Ember of Mercy because there's a lot of things, again, in the artifact that boost your ability to make some of those elemental things, right? Like we have Refresh Threads, there's like Elemental Overdrive, Elemental Days has some elemental things in there as well, Elemental Benevolence, like there's so many things that do these like more generic things or like elemental pickups where you're going to be making a lot of fire sprites, and having that be able to, you pick up a fire sprite, you get that restoration, and then you're able to extend that duration with Empyrean. That's a really, really good effect, right? But there's a lot of other things in here that also seem super tempting, right? Like Ember of Resolve. I think if you're stacking as much healing as I am, you probably don't need Ember of Resolve. Plus, we are going to be trying to work with the 4-piece Lustrous bonus, which I hope everybody's been farming for the past 2 weeks, right? Rapid Solar Final Blows heal you. This is very nice to have. Like, I don't know, like if you don't have it for this set, I don't know what the hell you're doing. So this is obviously very, very good. But there are so many things that you can take within the fragments. It just depends on how you want to specialize this setup. There's so many things you can do. I've seen like 4 different suggestions already in the chat. Like someone's like, I would swap Torches for Ashes. You apply more Scorch stacks to targets. That's a great idea, right? I could probably switch out Torches right now for Ashes because of the way that I'm getting Radiant, which is through the artifact specifically. Once the artifact goes away, that access isn't, as easily found anymore, then yes, you might want to go back to Snap Melee. If you want to go more towards like pushing out Scorch stacks or working around more ignitions, you can absolutely do that as well. Singeing here, your class ability recharges faster. Not that I think you really need this, because as long as you get a fusion grenade kill, like you're gonna get your class ability back. But like there's so many options to pick from. Your Solar Ignition spreads Scorch to affected targets, and it's getting you grenade energy on top of that too, right? There's so many ways. Like I run Empyrean, Ashes, Char, Mercy. So what do we have going on here? Solar Weapon or Ability Final Blows extend duration. You apply more Scorch. This is the Fire Sprite for Restoration. And then Ignition spreading Scorch, right? And then you apply more. This is more Scorch setup, right? Because you want to proc a whole bunch of Ignitions, right? Then you combine that with something like Incandescent, or you combine it with Burning Ambition, which I really hope I have on one of these SMGs, which I don't think I do. It's the new perk where sustained damage on a target gets you Scorch stacks on them, right? So this is a little more Scorch and Ignition oriented, whereas my setup was a lot more like, let's prioritize having Restoration on me 100% of the time, Radiant uptime 100% of the time. That's where I have felt the most comfortable in running this setup so far. We have 2 Grenadier, a Gunner, and a Specialist, and then my Starfire is Specialist. Do I think you need 81 class stat? Probably not, because again, you should be getting fusion grenade kills in order to restore your class ability, right? That's the whole like point of Starfire, defeating targets with fusion grenades grant rift energy. So I don't think you need 81. It's just, unless your grenade throws are just really, really not good and you're just burning through your class ability energy and you want it more often, I think it's okay if you want to spec into it. But if you're playing the build at a very high level, I don't think you need this much. Grenade, you want to go as high as you can. If you wanted to supplement it with some grenade fonts, I think that's totally fine if you just don't have the stats on you right now. I probably wouldn't go above 2 grenade fonts, because 1 grenade font gets you 20 of a stat, 2 gets you 40, but then 3 you get those diminishing returns. It only goes up to 50. So the most I would do is 2, and like we're at 185 a lot of the time. Like, okay, I'll live, right? Getting more super is great. Getting more weapons is great, because you are going to be doing a lot of weapon damage, right? The whole mechanism behind Starfire Protocol is doing damage and getting weapon kills. Weapon damage, weapon kills, right? So it's not the worst idea in the world to be speccing into a whole bunch of weapons as well. But yeah, you really just want to stack as much grenade as possible. And then set bonuses, again, you should be farming some Lustrous. If you wanted to do maybe Tech Sec, you could potentially do that if you find yourself using kinetic weapons. But we'll talk about my weapon selection right now, which is I brought out Red Death. With the Catalyst, final blows charge this weapon. When the weapon's charged, the next final blow creates a healing burst at your location, leaves a remnant that provides restoration to allies. Restoration, very good. I can keep Restoration X2 up on me at a very, very high amount. The uptime is really, really good. You could also, yes, do the raid set for increased radiant. That's totally true. But a lot of people not running the raid right now. So for the people who are running the raid, I'm guessing they probably already know that to some degree. But yes, you can run the raid set if you happen to be running the raid. I've really been liking Red Death. It is a great way to keep yourself topped up. It is a great way to sustain. It is a workhorse weapon. It's healing you. It's healing nearby allies. It's giving restoration. It's very good at and it's solar. I have really enjoyed using it. My priority has just been, I want to keep up restoration as much as possible. I want to keep up radiant as much as possible. Like, radiant is the number one factor. The more I can keep up radiant, the more I feel like I can actually interact with the build. And Red Death Reformed does allow you to run Empowering Rift instead of Healing Rift, because now you don't really need to worry about your healing as much when you're getting it from weapon kills, which you are incentivized to do by using Starfire Protocol in the first place. Bushido, Last Discipline, good for reload and heals on your primary. If you're running something other than Red Death, 100%. Bushido's great. 2-piece Last Discipline is primary weapon kills give you some reload speed on your primary weapons, right? So yeah, that is also a great combination. I mean, 2-piece Bushido is something that everybody should have just on standby for most builds, right? It's a very, very good set bonus. Yeah, Red Death is not featured, but like, I'm not really sweating that. Same for Fixed Odds. It's not featured. I'm still absolutely cooking. We'll talk about mods real quick as well. I'm not really doing anything super out of the ordinary. I got a heavy ammo finder on. We got Ashes to Assets. You're doing a lot of grenade kills. I think if you wanted to have 2 Ashes to Assets, you could totally do that as well. I think that's fine. At least 1 siphon to, fuel your font mods. I also have a weapons font because I just didn't really want to run anything else. I also have a solar weapon surge. We're already doing so much with the armor charge. So, you need to have some sort of supply of orbs. You could also run firepower if you wanted to, but with how many weapon kills I think you're going to be getting, I think you'd probably want to run like 2 firepower potentially, and like, I'd rather just have the bonus damage on my grenades because you're already getting a lot of grenades. Chest piece is just going to be resistances. I think that's totally fine. I run a scavenger as well. I don't really feel like I need to. I might swap this for something else. And then Powerful Attraction, you're going to be using lots of class abilities, scoop up all those orbs, Time Dilation for longer armor charge for all the fonts and the weapon surge, and then a Bomber just to get a little more grenade back in between casts. Also, someone in the YouTube chat brought up a great point. You could run something with Blast Distributor. Let me grab that real quick. So, I haven't been like the biggest fan of this just yet, but it's going to. I know it's gonna. There it is. Blast Distributor, dealing splash damage, grants an improved bonus to grenade stat. This is giving you, I think it's 50 grenade stat. Spoilers, you can get this to proc up to X5 on a single shot. It is not very hard to do. So if you find yourself at very low grenade, or if you find yourself being very diligent about keeping Blast Distributor up, you can run with much less grenade and have the rest of that supplemented by mods, right? Like, this is 40. This is 50, right? That's 90 stat. Sorry, 65 when enhanced. That you can be getting from just like not your actual gear, which means you could put that more into super, get more supers. You could get more weapon stat. You get more whatever you want. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the area denial frames. For me, some of the fun of a build is like not constantly having to worry about keeping a certain buff active all the time, because then otherwise I'm not playing at my most optimal, blah, 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 blah. I don't want that stress, right? That gets kind of annoying and kind of stressful for someone like me, and I imagine a lot of other people. It's not something you want to constantly keep monitoring in your head, because there's already a good amount of things that you need to monitor with this setup. Now, obviously, when you have something like Grenadier active in any sort of anything, this build is going to go crazy, right? But I do also want to try it outside of that setting, and I want to try it really in like a quick play master. I mean, we got Brawler active right now, so there's probably gonna be a lot of melee people in here. Class Healing, Slayer. It's been weird trying to do some build crafting stuff because, you know, on a day like today where it's Brawler, you're probably not going to want to play with this build. You're going to want to go with, like, you know, Electric Slide Warlock instead, right? But let's give it a shot here. We're 30 under, and we just want to see how it's going to go. It's not like this weapon's ever been bad. You know, it's always been pretty good. Oh, we have Keep Moving. Great. We got our Radiant up. We have Photo Galvanic making 18,000 noises in our ear. Bungie, please fix. All I'm focused on is, like, get headshots, stack Restoration, get Radiant up as much as possible. Although we're in the Empowering Rift as well. So, like, we have Empowering Rift or Radiant that we can rely on. But, like, some of these things are so weak in here that, like, I don't even need to throw my grenades. Like, I'm going to throw a grenade on a War Beast. Just take out half of that dude's health. Can I help you, dog? All these fire sprites everywhere as well. It's like easy pickups. You ever need a little restoration? Your restoration buff's about to tick all the way down. Just scoop one up, grab a couple kills. It's just so... It's so free, man. It's so free. I think the only thing that I really want to make sure I'm keeping track of is making sure I'm picking up Orbs of Power, because it can be very easy to just be sitting in a rift the whole time and just, like, never go and venture out to pick up your orbs. Oh, Lord. See, I ran out of restoration. What happened? Freaking died immediately because I thought I had it the whole time. Been running this build, but instead of the Ignition Fragment, I run the Fragment that makes a Fire Sprite when killing a Scorched target. Phoenix Dive and Sunshot with Solar SMG, I rely on Mercy for Resto. If you're not spec'd into some amount of Resto, it's very deceptive. Like, you know, you just think you're a Solar Warlock and you're like, oh, I'm just never going to die because I'm on Solar and that's just how it works. And no, if you don't have the help from the Fragments, it's very easy to die. It's like right now, I'm trying to proc all the things that I need to proc. It's kind of sketch right now because there's a giant freaking chicken right here. I think the only thing about Empowering Rift is that all of your teammates will hate you because everyone assumes every single rift is a healing rift. I think one thing to be a little cautious of is that when you're DPSing a single target, you're not, like, triggering something like Restoration from Red Death, right? It can get very easy to tunnel vision and, like, realize, like, oh, I just lost, like, all of my healing potential. So just make sure you're being a little observant of your restoration. Can this guy, like, come back? Need this guy to shut up. Going in and out of stealth 80,000 times. This is one of those moments where I'm glad that I have a little bit more class ability. It's just nice for, like, those moments where you happen to get stuck with nothing and you're just kind of floundering, like, I don't know what to do. Not really struggling at all. The only times I'm really dying is, like, you know, focus firing the boss. I lost track of my restoration. Again, there are so many ways for you to flex this build. Devil's Ruin got some really fun buffs in the patch where you could do a whole bunch of ignition stuff, and you want to spec into a bunch of ignition-based fragments, go right ahead too. Like, that's really fun. And you're also getting tons of fire sprites. It's a lot of fun. So this is 42 levels above. All right, so 42 levels above, kind of making light work of a lot of these dudes here. Again, it's Vex as well, more annoying to crit. I guess we should probably throw a grenade at some point, but Red Death itself is just, again, it's doing so much damage that it doesn't even matter. Get this out of here.
Get that garbage out of here.
Also, one thing I think you do have to be careful of is your own fusion grenades killing you.
Datto, should I contribute to this conversation?
What's up?
I'm a Titan May. Also, Starfire feels good as a mid-ranged exotic. It is easy to proc and easy to keep up and feels good to blast with, even in Mythic, especially in Mythic.
Yeah, Mythic, I mean, you're doing tons. I mean, you're probably doing a lot of sitting in a rift, plinking away at targets, right? So you're going to be getting a lot of procs of just doing the weapon damage and slowly building up your grenades. So Mythic, it's probably working very well because you can get your grenades without having to actually kill things, right? Killing things is great, but you don't have to. All right, let's get... Well, I was going to say let's get Radiant triggered, but we just did. Yeah, again, the Hellion too, man. I know people are kind of tired of the buddy stuff, but like, for what it's worth, Hellion is just so good. An awkward spot, but there we go. I do like that you can just get out of a jam so easily with Red Death as well. Oh, the freaking hobgoblins, man. I always die to these guys. It's like they put them in the perfect spot where like your shots from that center thing like hit a railing. They're so annoying. Like, look at that, man. You can't tell me that wasn't planned. Yeah, this is one of those moments where I even with all like the resto stuff I have going on, I really would not mind having a healing rift. It's just like a nice little extra blanket that you can have to not die. So we get into one of these modes where we need to focus on the boss, our restoration falls off, right? So that's why I tend to prioritize restoration so much. So that was 42 levels above, you know, some scary moments here and there, but we're also playing on Empowering Rift. Yeah, Starfire Protocol, very, very good. Great solo setup. You know, if you really want to spec for a lot of Radiant and a lot of Restoration, you can obviously do that. Even in group play, it works very similarly. It doesn't feel like it's super punishing to run in a group. I think the only thing would be like, hey, if you're running Empowering Rift, make sure you tell your team that you're running Empowering Rift, because otherwise they're going to think it's a Healing Rift basically all the time. There's so much flexibility here. I think that's what makes something like Starfire Protocol fun, is like you can spec it 2 to 3 different ways, 4 different ways. None of the setups are wrong. Again, this is only like one of like the few variations that I've run. I haven't run a more ignition heavy or scorch heavy setup with specifically Red Death yet. So I'd be interested in trying that as well. Maybe I'll like it even more. But yeah, I don't know. That's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.